I'm going to show you guys how to do triangle parts in this video. I just want to point out that typically triangle parts are smaller than box parts. So say for example, if you were doing the same size in box parts, the triangles are going to come out much smaller than the box. So I do charge more for triangles. Also wanted to note that when you move up the head for triangles, the triangles are going to get much smaller because the U-shaped rose does get tight up at the top, as you guys will see later on in this video. Secondly, I wanted to note when doing triangles, unlike the box parts, there is little control over the size of the triangles once you get started. So if you don't want your triangles to come out really small at the top, make sure you start off with really big triangles at the back. So these are large braids that I'm doing, and me and my client wanted her braids to be much smaller and full, so I went for smaller parted triangles. I always start off with a upward facing triangle at the nape, so the point is facing up. You can start with a downward facing one, or you could start with just a line that's slanted. You don't have to have a triangle in the center of the back. This is just the way I like to do it because I like the look. I'm just going to make sure the point of that first box is right at the center of my middle part. Then I'm going to follow the line straight up and make my triangle part that's opposite of that one. So as I go up my middle part, I'm going to have triangles that are kissing, point to point and base to base. After you get started with the first couple rows, once you go up to the crown of the head, you're just going to follow the same lines. But for the most part at the back, you just go ahead and keep making triangles. So here I could have made my middle triangle a little bit wider to make bigger triangles, and then I could have put 2 triangles on each side of my middle triangle, but like I said, me and my client are going for a smaller look, so I went ahead and put 3 triangles on each side of my middle triangle. You can see our braids are pretty small. They don't look like large braids at all. And now I'm just following the lines from below, and I will do this all the way up the head. It doesn't matter if all 3 sides of your triangle is the same size. You just want to make sure that you have a point. So wide triangles are definitely okay. Whatever the case is, you just want to make sure it is pointed and not cut off at the top where the point is supposed to be. Sometimes when you get to the front, if your client has thin hair, definitely don't worry about trying to make the triangle parts. You may end up with a weird shaped part in the front of the head. That is totally fine. You don't want to compromise your client's health of their hair just for some triangle shapes. I'm putting the same amount of triangles on this side, and I'm just following the lines all the way up. If at any time you want to avoid parting and getting smaller triangles at the top, you can simply start a new pattern of triangles on a fresh row and then follow that new row up to the top of the head. So I've seen a lot of stylists do this for triangles, especially when you get up to the second to last row, because like I said, that's where the rows start to get really tight and the triangles get smaller. So if you follow the lines and make sure your triangles are pointed and not cut off at the point, you'll be good. It's pretty much a piece of cake. Triangle parts are not that hard. It's just very tedious because you want to make sure you have them super neat. But for the most part, the work is done for you. You just follow the lines. So like I previously stated, if the client does not have strong edges, it is totally fine to end up with a weird shape on the edge just like this. However, my client's edges are good. It's going to be no problem to continue the pattern and fit 3 triangles on this side. So my triangles are getting really small here at the top. Like I said, if you want to avoid this, you can just simply scratch the pattern from below and begin to make a whole new pattern of triangle parts here, and then just follow this new pattern that you make for the last row. I just decided to just keep going with the flow because I don't mind the braids getting small at the top, and I want to show you guys how it looks to follow the same pattern all the way up the top of the head. So now that I'm up to the last row, I'm just going to randomly follow the lines from below and start to create triangles. So I started in the middle of this part, and I'm basically still following the same pattern. So when I go to the other side, I don't worry about following the parts for that side. I just go ahead and mirror the first row because like I said, the middle part is going to be what everybody is going to see. So instead of following the rows on that side, I would just mimic the side that you already done. And for the most part, your parts are going to be really close to matching on that side as well. Just in case it's not, you just want to be sure to mimic the first side of the middle part that you already completed. So that is the final product, and that is the braid down of my triangle braids. Be sure to check out the earlier lesson on numbering rows, which is the step before this point, and also check out the pre-parting video so you guys can distinguish between sizes, and also check out the installation video on how I install my knotless box braids and get a tight base at the roots.